Mr Chair.
Honourable Judith Collins.
Mr Chair, I'll just take a short call to deal with some of the issues raised by the Honourable Leanne Dalziel, and I thank you for her contribution. One of the issues I think I heard her say is that if someone can be excused by way, once they're excused, they can continue to be excused. As she's rightly also, I think later on, said that that is in relation to disability or health issues. It doesn't relate to age. Just to give the House a bit of an example of the number of people aged 65 and over who have asked to be excused based on their age since this provision was first brought in 2000. So in the last 11 years, there have been 4,066,053 total jury excusals. That includes those under 65 as well. Of those, the total number recorded excusals, all reasons, for people aged 65 and over are 615,202. And for the number of recorded excusals where the sole reason given by the person who has been summoned to be a juror is that they are aged 65 years or over, is a total of 247,371. And we can't tell the House, or I can't tell the House, how many of those are the same people having to be asked to be excused time and time again. And I just referred the House to the contribution from Ms Genter, who referred to her own elderly grandparents who sounded, from what she said, very able to do things, but who would not feel able to sit through a trial, a jury trial. And it's all very well for members to perhaps say, well, they should go and do their day's jury service. Well, actually, these days, sometimes jury trials can go on for weeks and weeks. It could be 3 or 4 weeks, day in, day out, listening to matters and having to come to a decision. And many people over 65 will feel fine about doing that and welcome the opportunity to contribute. But not everybody aged over 65 does feel able. In fact, I can say in the last decade and 1 year, 247,371 such requests for excusal were actually given, and for people on the sole basis that they said they were over 65 and they wanted to take a break or a rest from this. Now, quite frankly, I have no idea why Labour and New Zealand First are arguing about this. We have a very good solution provided by Mr Clinton and the Greens, which is if they decide they don't want to continue to be permanently excused, then they can come back into the system. Well, isn't that marvellous, a bit of choice being offered? And the other point is, no one's discriminating. It's a privilege to be able to say that they don't need to come back and say that they're disabled or there's a health issue. They can simply say they're over a certain age, they've done their bit for the community, and they'd like to take a break. And why shouldn't they be able to say that if that's what they want to do? And quite frankly, it's appalling to think that Labour and New Zealand First think that if we were to say to these 247,371 people, or the number of excusals in the last decade and 1 year, 11 years, that they have to go and do their jury service, well, then they'd be turning around, I'm sure, should they get some of the complaints that we've had about having to constantly ask to be excused, they would then say that that was discriminatory and we're being mean to them. So quite frankly, this nonsense about discrimination, it is no more accurate than it is to say it's discriminatory to give people a super gold card. That's not discrimination. This is a right that we're extending to those people aged over 65 if they want it, and actually only for as long as they want it. How is that discriminatory? The Human Rights Commission may well have made a submission along the lines that Ms Dalziel said, but actually I don't agree with it. It's wrong. The answer is give people a choice. They're 65. If they want to do it, good on them. And if they don't, why should they?
Honourable David Parker.
Mr.